Welcome to Backyard Cigars, and I'm very glad that you could join me once again today. It's been on my mind for some time about why people hate Gurkha cigars so much. And I see it on the Reddit threads, and I see it on different forums where people will trash Gurkha, and then a certain select few will come to their defense. And there's a history there with the cigar smoker and Gurkha, and there's been controversy as well. And we can go back to 2020 when the founder of the company, Kazai Hansosha, made some inflammatory remarks about the Black Lives Matter movement. I was back in 2020 and he stepped down. Jim Colucci, who had been named I believe the president of the company in 2019, then assumed control. But then there were rumors that Kazai didn't really step down and he was still at the helm. He was just in the shadows. Colucci said he was having trouble selling his share, this and that. Look, personally, I'm going to tell you right now. This is the first Gurkha cigar that I'm going to smoke. This is the first for me. I've had opportunities in the past, and I just never really pulled the trigger. I did hear a lot from my fellow cigar smokers about how the quality wasn't up to par for what they were charging. I'm never a fan of that. But in 2021, I bought the Gurkha Ghost Gold Exorcist. And I've had it in my humidor now for 2 years. I actually aged it in the cellophane. I bought it because, to be honest, I wanted to do a review on a cigar with a Halloween type of theme to it. And this was one of the cigars that I felt would be perfect to review for a Halloween episode. So you may actually be seeing this today on Halloween, or this may be released at some other point in time. But it is my first Gurkha. And it isn't something that I intentionally set out to do, never try a Gurkha. I just never got around to it. And hearing negative things didn't really make me rush to pick up some of these cigars. But this is the second introduction of their Ghost line. Their original line consisted of a Brazilian Ariparaca wrapper. But the specs on this 6x60 Toro is an Ecuadorian Habano Maduro wrapper. I've got two different reports on the binder. Some say it's a Mexican binder. Others say it's a Criollo 98 or a Criollo 97 Nicaraguan binder. The filler is a blend of USA, Nicaragua, and the Dominican Republic. Where in the USA? I don't know. Let's just make an assumption that it might be Pennsylvania broadleaf or Connecticut broadleaf. And again, Nicaragua, don't know exact regions. Don't know how long the tobacco's been aged. Don't know any of that. That's fine. We know the specifics. We know what we're smoking here, more or less. I mean, a lot of people have said that they really feel that they get a flavor of Mexico in the binder. I don't know. I haven't tried it yet, so I can't tell you. But I will say this. In regards to the hate for Gurkha cigars, what I did read a lot of, aside from individuals that found the founder's post on Facebook offensive, aside from that, a lot of people were just simply saying the quality is not there. I've read posts where people say, I've tried a lot of their cigars and a lot of them were just subpar mediocre. I've heard in Gurkha's defense, people say, well, yeah, there have been a few bad ones, but who doesn't have a few bad ones? And overall, they're pretty decent. Rewind to 1995 when, of course, Gurkha was introduced, and they introduced themselves as the Rolls Royce of cigars. Now, maybe that's going to rub a couple of people the wrong way, maybe. But when you make a bold statement like that, you've got to bring it. I've said this in the past about other brands that have tried to establish themselves and say that they are the best of this and the best of that. Listen, marketing is marketing, okay? You can say what you want. And honestly, there's no reason for me to hate based off the marketing, because you're entitled to say you think that your cigars are the Rolls Royce and they're the best, creme de la creme. That's fine. But if I buy them, personally, as a consumer, as a cigar lover, and they're not good and they don't match that level of uh, expectation, or the expectation that I had in regards to Rolls Royce quality, then I'm allowed to just simply say I didn't think they were any good, and I'm not going to buy them anymore. And I'm not going to get behind that. This is even before we get to, the offensive statements that were made. But I can understand if someone were to say that, like, okay, look, they just weren't any good. But me personally, I can't say that. I can't speak to that because this is my first one. So I can't just say I agree with what people are saying in regards to their quality. But I will understand that if you say you're the Rolls Royce and you don't measure up, you're going to get some backlash. You're going to get some people. I'm going to be one of those people that's going to say, hey, give me a break. But at the same time, I'm not going to hate you for that. You want to try and deceive people into thinking that you have the best of this, best of that, and you don't? Well, let people figure it out on their own. They can spread the word. And then you lose sales. Your sales drop. End the story. No reason to hate there. In regards to the inflammatory remarks that, because I made in 2020, which forced him to step down, the only thing I would say about that, without going into any political realms, which is not what I want to do in this video, is that if you're going to go with the old line of someone hacked my account, someone got into my account and hacked it and made these remarks, only to reverse course and kind of fess up to the fact that it was you that made these remarks. I mean, one, if you felt the need to lie about it, then part of you, or there's something in your head that told you that what you did probably wasn't the wisest thing to do. And you were either A, ashamed, or B, just upset that you were found out, or C, simply unwilling to face the music in regards to the comments you make. Because I feel like if you're entitled to make these comments, fine. People are also entitled to interpret them a certain way and become offended and then just simply not buy your products. That's fine too. But if you made these comments, you know what? Just fess up and face the music. And if you feel that you need to explain yourself, explain yourself. But Cigar Aficionado tried to interview him after that, and he didn't take the interview. I can't imagine what it's like to be caught in that type of situation, right? But I feel like I've said some things in my past, just in my personal life, that if I needed to address them, I feel like I'd be ready to address them. As painful as that may be, or as painful as reliving some of those things may be, I feel like you've got to be, a stand-up man, a stand-up woman, and just face up to what you've said or done. But that's just my way of thinking. Some people just want to run away and my internet got hacked and, I didn't do anything and no accountability. Whatever. That aside, is the quality of this cigar that I'm smoking today worth the time or the $9.50 that I paid for it? Just like a bowl of earth was just shoved into my mouth is what I'm getting. And before you think that I'm trashing the cigar, I'm not, because actually I love earthiness in cigars, and I love working with earth and dirt. And I do have an appreciation of the aroma that brings. Don't necessarily like the taste of dirt in my mouth. That's happened to me as a child. Don't necessarily like that, but in this way that I'm getting it in a cigar experience, it's different. It's okay. Good start. This was a closed foot, so you kind of got like that rush from the closed foot and it was a burst of flavor that just came out. Looking at the cigar, I love the band on it, and I just think that it's cool. I do think that the wrapper on it It's some of it is slightly darker than other parts of it. It's slightly toothy. It isn't the most beautiful wrapper, but it's got character. It's a 6x60, a little bit larger than what I normally like, but I really wanted to try this cigar. Interesting that they named it Gurkha Ghost Gold Exorcist. A lot of people don't believe in exorcisms. But having been witness to many exorcisms, I can say they're real. They're real. Are they as scary as in the movies? Probably not as scary as in the movies, but scary enough. And probably the fear that you have as an individual watching a horror movie about, say, something like The Exorcist, is the feeling that you're going to have a fear in that moment if you are afraid of watching something like that in a movie is going to be different than the fear you will actually experience during a live exorcism. The feeling that you have, having experienced both during a live exorcism, is more in tune with when you feel that your life may be in danger and you just feel like this uncertainty of what may or may not happen to me. And before, you question as to how, how can, usually they don't allow you to see an well, when you're in the Catholic Church, there's a certain specific amount of people that are part of that exorcism that have been deemed, to be allowed in that exorcist. But in other church or other religions, they also do exorcisms, and sometimes, maybe not in the safest way, these exorcisms sort of just kind of happen in the spur of the moment or in the heat of the moment, so to speak. And an exorcism will start to happen, and you're there, and you're given instructions as what you need to do in order to protect yourself, in order to be safe. And there were a few times when I just didn't take it seriously enough, and I kind of just really dismissed the safety information that we were given. And for a moment, I don't even want to get into it too much, but I just want to say that for a moment, you know, I felt something grip me, and I felt something, just a menacing feeling, and kind of just like woke me up, and it made me realize that this isn't a game, this is real, and you've got to respect this. And so, in saying that, when I think of an exorcist, I take it very seriously, and I don't look at it as, oh, it's just a thing of movies, because it's not. Lot of smoke production from this cigar. One is there's a lot of tobacco in here. Two, I'm just gonna throw this out there. When I met Alex Arias, the famous Cuban cigar roller, who had begun a journey throughout the United States, touring as an ambassador from Cuba, and it was also branching out, and he was having some cigars made for a line of his in Nicaragua. And when he was talking with us, one of the things he mentioned was Gurkha. And he talked about how people had told him, you've got to try these Gurkha cigars. You got to try these Gurkha cigars. Specifically, you've got to try the Gurkha Ghost. And he told me, I tried the Gurkha Ghost. I lit it up. All of this smoke, a lot of smoke. He was like, but we were checking out the cigar. And he goes, that company, I know for a fact, uses a special type of oil which they rub onto the cigar that make it produce that smokiness, that high volume of smoke. And he said that's just a technique. It's a gimmick. It's something that they do. He said he went on to say he did not enjoy the cigar, and that he felt that it was just too artificial in his eyes, with the gimmick of the smoke and all of that. That's his personal opinion. I respect it, but I'm smoking this now, so I've got to form my own. So far, I'm getting earthiness, as promised, some pepperiness. A little bit of leather, mild spice. Mild spice on the finish. Medium bodied cigar, medium strength cigar, and a good draw. From what I can tell so far, decent construction. The burn line's been a little wonky, but not any major impediment. Packed full of tobacco, voluminous smoke. The aroma is just average, nothing special, nothing bad. So look, just as I had said that the burn line was fine, it started to give me a little bit of a problem, which started to hamper the draw just a little bit, and I felt that I wasn't getting a good draw on the cigar after each puff. Hit it with the lighter, gave it a touch up, seemed to rectify the situation. In terms of flavor, I'm just really just getting that earthy pepperiness and a little spice in the finish, and not much else. Am I enjoying the cigar so far? I have to say I'm underwhelmed. I expected a much better cigar, especially for everything that I heard about this particular line and in this specific cigar. Regardless of the negative that I heard about it, I go in with a blank slate. I'm trying a Gurkha cigar for the very first time. Whatever I've read goes out the window. All of that cannot taint my review. The integrity of the review is of the utmost importance. That means that regardless of how I feel about what happened with the original founder and the comments that were made, regardless of everything that friends and family and fellow cigar smokers have said about Gurkha cigars, I have to look at this from a neutral angle and just tell you what I'm feeling with this particular Gurkha cigar, right? Because are there any good Gurkha cigars out there? Quite possibly. Yeah, I haven't tried them all. First one. Having a little problem with the draw. I'll be right back. So I got things on track again to the point where I can, take puffs. But I was having a difficulty with the draw. It's kind of seized up on me, and don't really know what happened. Listen, guys. I know how to turn the cigars I'm smoking. Okay, all right. I know how to not over puff and get it all bitter and stuff. I know all of that. There are precautions you take when you're smoking different vitola sizes of cigars, and I'm getting a very factory feel from this cigar. What do you mean factory feel, Jose? Are you talking about factory throwouts, secondhand throwouts? I mean, look, there are budget cigars out there that fit the bill for a nice yard gar, things like that, boat cigars, and they're fine. And you buy them in bundles, and sometimes they're labeled as seconds or factory throwouts, and you get them good deals. They're not the best cigars, but they fit the bill. They may be low in quality, but they do the job. And honestly, a lot of us don't expect them to be great cigars. They're labeled and marketed as factory throwouts, seconds, mistake cigars, cigars that to your benefit now you're not paying a lot for them. Out of the bundle, there might be a few that are plugged, might be a few that have wrapper issues and so forth. Maybe they're all fine, and then you're even luckier. But when you're the Gurkha Ghost Gold Exorcist, you are already kind of setting the expectation, higher. And your marketing is, of course, that it is the finest of the finest. And in this case, they are selling the cigar for $10.50 or so. I got a little cheaper on a discount, but you get the idea. And you just get the feel that it should be a much better cigar than what it is. And I'm just telling you right now, I'm having a difficulty with the draw right now. I have not poked it. I don't know if I should. And all of a sudden, it's back. The draw is back. I'm able to get something out of this cigar. And it's not all bad. A general earthiness with some pepper and mild spices. That's pretty much it. It's been consistent from, first, second to where I'm at now. It's been consistent in that flavor. It hasn't really transitioned. I'm not knocking it for not transitioning. But overall, I'm just not really getting much from the cigar in terms of enjoyment. I'm not feeling any kind of excitement with any of the flavors that I'm getting. And I think that it would probably be fine for like a yard gar or a boat cigar if it was priced at a lower price point with less marketing attached to it, claiming that it's superior in so many different ways. But look, this is my experience with this particular cigar. Maybe I got a bad one, maybe, but I have to judge it based off of my first experience here that I'm having with this, my very first Gurkha. Happens to be a Gurkha Ghost Gold. And as much as I love the funky band and the blend seems okay, right? You got USA, Nicaragua, Dominican Republic. Maybe it's a Mexican binder, maybe it's not. But you got the Ecuadorian Habano Maduro wrapper. Kind of lost the draw again. Kind of had to be revived, which is what's been happening the last 10 minutes or so. Look, the Gurkha Ghost Gold Exorcist wasn't the worst cigar that I've ever smoked in my life. I know you've heard that before when people try to set it up for saying, but it wasn't the best either. And in this case, it was just underwhelming. None of the flavors that, while remaining consistent and providing adequate satisfaction, really highlighted what was really good about the blend or what would potentially get someone excited. I don't think so. I don't think that this would get anyone really excited about cigar smoking. I think it was really boring. Issues with the draw towards the second, third, and final third, and overall just lackluster. If I could find a better word, I don't think I could. And having said that, I just want to say that this is my personal take with this particular Gurkha cigar. Leave your comments below if you have had excellent experiences with a Gurkha cigar that you would recommend to me. I'm not telling you I'm going to rush out and buy it and review it right away, but I will put it in my notes of consideration and we'll see where it goes from there. So until next time, I just want to thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. Until next time on Backyard Cigars.